Feeling better.
Good. Good.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm hoping that it's not too loud. The neighborhood's like super, super busy today. I came outside and there was all these planes flying over and motorcycles going by, and I was like, oh my gosh.
It seems okay, but even if it is,
Good.
it is what it is, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely.
well, it's
Hi,
good to see you.
everyone. Yeah, it's
Hi,
good to see
people.
you too.
Hi, everybody popping on.
Hi,
So we're just going to be
everyone.
doing Q&A today, answering questions you might have. Hi, Nikki. Mosolalo.
Hi.
Yeah,
Hi,
I'm so happy
Michelle.
I'm
If you're
feeling
here,
better.
say hi. I'm so glad you're feeling better. We were actually just talking that a lot of people that I've talked to today have been feeling that extreme head pressure, the sinuses, their ears are clogging up, and um, outside of it being like flu season and all of the physical sickness, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tapping into
It's,
that spiritual meaning behind it, and lots of
oh, thank
activations
you.
and upgrades. Hi,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, Nikki. She said you look beautiful. I put lots of
Oh.
concealer under my eyes because my eyes were all puffy. But that comes with the transmuting and the integration. So I'm just trying. I mean, my guides were like, "Well, if you're not going to take rest, we're going to make you take a rest." So that's what they do. But
Exactly.
literally been sleeping for the past couple of days.
I'm
Thanksgiving, I
so
can
glad though.
barely do anything. But I'm back. Eric singing
Welcome
that song in
back.
my head. I'm back in the saddle again. That song. You're back again. He's playing that in my head right now.
I'm so glad you're feeling better, and I'm so glad that you actually were able to take some rest. I know you don't like to rest. You're always going, you're always moving, and if you're not live or in session or in
Uh,
something, you're answering questions, you're always of service. So I hate that
you too.
you had to do that because you weren't feeling well, but I'm glad that you actually were able to take that time to rest. It's so important. So, for everyone watching, yeah, this is real life stuff. So, Deb and I are both spiritual professionals. We're both soul language, light language healer activators.
Yeah.
We're constantly in session. We're helping out students in courses. We're live or we're in a Zoom or we're always busy, and so this is real life. So I feel
Yeah.
like that's a great place to start to talk about, because everyone that I've talked to is like just feeling down or tired or body achy, head pressure.
Yeah.
It's a very real thing. So when we start talking about self care, rest, rejuvenation, when we talk about things like calibration and integration, we're not just making it up. Like, please,
Right.
please, please hydrate, allow yourselves to rest, tune in every day, listen to your body, listen to your mind, your thoughts, your feelings, but listen to your physical body, because
Yeah.
Deb and I have both had
Absolutely.
this isn't the first time that Deb's team has been like, nope, you're done, you're laid out, and
Yeah.
it
Oh
certainly
yeah,
has happened to
baby.
me a lot before too. So
Hi,
when you're
everybody.
feeling that, it's so important to set those boundaries and say no. I'm going to rest, and it's I feel like very difficult in this sort of realm because we constantly want to be of service to other people, but you can't be of service to other people if you're not being of service to yourself. So,
Yeah. If your cup is full, you can't help somebody if your cup is full. And mine was overflowing. And then the guilt sets in because I want to be of service to everybody, but then it's like
yeah,
energetically, I'm just like, I can't do it. But I had a couple days of good rest. Thanksgiving was a little tough for me. But I made it through. And I did take a COVID test and it was negative, so I was happy about that. So I'm
good,
definitely
good.
feeling better. I've been drinking oils. I don't know if you guys know, but I drink oils constantly. I'm an essential oil advocate. So oils is how I treat my body, essential oils. And I started feeling better immediately after I started taking them. So today I woke up feeling really good. And I thought, well, might as well do the live today. I didn't
Yeah,
want to reschedule.
absolutely. Absolutely. So while you're talking about oils, that's a great thing as well. So when people are feeling the way that you've been feeling, what would you recommend? What have you been using?
I've been using, I don't know if you've heard of doTERRA brand essential oils, but I use the On Guard, which is, it helps with your immunity. Okay, it helps with the immune system. So it just helps the body to heal itself. Now, nothing heals anything. Your body heals itself, but we give it what it's needed to help maintain a healthy immune system. It's called the protective blend. So, but I use the soft gels. It's called On Guard Soft Gel Plus, and they're actually little soft gel capsules with the oils in there, and it contains oregano oil, which is, a good fighter for bacterial and viral infections. So I take that if I start feeling onset of something, and usually in the next few days I start to feel better. So also breathe oil I use like crazy because it helps to open up my airways. So I did like kind of cup it over my nose, and I just started breathing it in. So that helped me a lot. I woke up feeling that pressure was gone up in here and in this area. My ears have been so active. I don't know if you guys have been feeling that. Hi, Jossie.
Oh yeah.
But loud. The energy is loud right now, you guys. You can feel it.
Yes.
Hearing the ear ringing is so intense for me. And I know we're getting a lot of upgrades and expansion and that, but if we're not taking the self-care, then we get sick. Or if we're not, taking the time out to listen to our body. And that's what was happening to me. I wasn't listening. Wasn't taking enough time out for me.
Well, and it's hard because we're stubborn too, right? Like, 'cause it's like,
Yeah.
no, I have this scheduled. I want to do this. I have this mission. I'm so busy. And just, I get it. I
Yeah.
100% get it. I'm not
Well, it
someone
didn't
that
help that
doesn't like
everybody's
to be
sick in the house
working.
too.
Right. Right. You
Somebody
just
was
continue coating
mentioning,
yourself in your oils and drinking them.
who was that? Becca, I think, was mentioning onion water. I've never tried that,
I actually
but
had someone on my site as well asking, have you tried the potato on your feet? And it's funny because I
I saw
just
a TikTok
saved
of that.
that. I
Yeah.
just saved that. And I've also seen people taking raw onion and putting that in their socks when they go to sleep. So I haven't
Yeah.
tried it myself. I can't give a testimony on that,
Well,
but
well, that's what I do with oils too, especially with children. You want to apply oils to the bottom of the feet because the bottom of your feet have the largest pores on your body. So it absorbs quicker into the bloodstream. So if you can't take it internally, then, like with kids, I always put it on the bottom of the feet and put the socks right over it. So just like an onion will do that same benefit, but you got to consistently put oils on the body. It's not like, oh, I take one dose and it didn't work for me. It's like, well,
right.
it's not a pharmaceutical. It's not going to work in that way. Oils work in a different way. You got to constantly put them on the body. Got to constantly treat yourself with them. So all day long, I just kept drinking them, putting them on my body, putting them around my ears, back of my neck, bottom of my feet, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I treat myself, just because I don't like to take anything. My body doesn't react well to pharmaceuticals. So I
Mine
learned the
doesn't
hard way.
either. Mine doesn't either. I could be in so much pain and I will refuse Tylenol just because I'm like, no, no, it's not going to do anything anyway, Like I have a
It
super high
camouflages
tolerance
the
for
pain.
painkillers and I just don't like to
Yeah.
take them. And that's not medical advice for anyone else. Maybe I'm just stubborn or crazy, but I personally don't like to use them because they don't work well enough for me to say, oh, this is making a difference. And then I figure, well, if that's the case, I'm just not going to bother.
Yeah. Well, and it is basically people take that because it helps to camouflage the pain temporarily
Right.
until you feel better. I don't really have anything against Tylenol or Advil or anything like that. It's just that I choose
Right.
not to use it. That's just I don't want to put that in my body. I decide not to do that. That's all. You know,
Yeah.
Nothing against anybody who pops Advil or
Right,
Tylenol,
right,
do your
right. Every
thing,
single
whatever's going to make you
person's
feel better.
different.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Um, but that's how I got better, and I got better pretty quickly. So I was
That's
happy for that.
amazing. Yeah, you
And
recover so quickly.
I did some energy weaving with light language and really cleared my energy too that way too. I did everything. I had crystals by me,
Yeah.
called in my guides. I did everything that I could to help get myself better. I also spoke positive intentions. I'm better. I'm no longer feeling sick. Like things like this, I was saying to
Right.
myself so that I can speed up the process of healing. So remember that your intent is very powerful.
Exactly. That's something
Anyway,
that I like to say when I'm not feeling well is not I'm sick, I'm healing. So that it's constantly moving
yeah.
in a positive way, and I
Mhm.
love that you're using your soul language and your energy because
Yeah.
I lived in chronic pain, chronic pain. And especially here, I'm in Florida now, and I'm by the beach. It's constantly hot. It's constantly damp,
Mhm.
and my joints were just screaming every day. And when I activated with my soul language and I started using that and my light language and started becoming aware of energy, that's when I started to feel better. And I would use it on myself. I would practice on
Yeah.
myself. And that was how I learned, it's doing something. Wow, it's doing something. And then as I worked with other people, every time you work with someone else, you sort of get that healing, that clearing, that activating for yourself. And so that it's done so much for me that I can't even really put it into words. But when I don't feel good, I do the same thing.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing, everybody who's sharing. We love you. If you guys have any questions, or if you're experiencing similar things, please, comment. We want to talk about these things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hi, Lorna. Hi,
Malalo.
everyone. How's it going? We're just here chatting away. So if anyone has questions, please feel free to ask. I actually have a question pop up right away. So
Okay.
once once you're activated, does light language usually come in when others are saying it first and then slowly solo? So I truly believe that every single person is different, but depending on your activation, depending on how your activation went, um, a strong activator like Deb, or a strong activator is going to go in and do the necessary clearing in order to get to the place
Yeah.
where that is going to unlock within your heart. And generally, when you leave that session, you will be speaking. Will you have any idea what you're saying? No, probably
No.
not. It's not going to immediately start translating, and you might not be like a babbling
Yeah.
brook right
You
away.
won't.
I was, but I'm that way all the time. But you should, at the end of that, sort of be using it a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you also can become activated just by not putting up any resistance and sort of being in a community or in a space where you are hearing that. And that's what happened to me. I sort of found this community on Facebook, and I didn't know what they were doing, but I wasn't opposed to it. And then one night I went to bed and I started speaking. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is Pleiadian. And I just kept saying the same thing over and over. And then when I woke up in the morning, I was like, girl, you are so absolutely crazy. Um, but it's cool,
Malo.
and then I started
Yeah.
speaking something else. So it'll vary. But Deb, what do you think?
I just think that everybody is different on how they're activated. Some people get in their head a little too much. That's when they start making excuses. When I'm activating them, that's a sign that they're in their head too much. And so I try to get them back into their heart space and realize that it's in the feeling. It's not, you're not going to find it here. It's an emotional feeling that comes across in expression. It's what your soul wants to express. And once you let go, and it is a letting go, once you let go to that resistance, that is when it starts to flow through. But sometimes you just need a strong enough activator to help you to access it and clear. And there has to be a clearing if there's any, what I call dust or debris in your energy or anything that's, laying kind of stagnant in there, that needs to be cleaned out too. And then, of course, you got to bring in the coding, the coding for that specific individual. And so like when I'm doing an activation solo and versus group sessions, I'm bringing all the codes in for
Right.
each one of them. Yeah. And then I'm helping them to access it. And it's really stronger in a group setting, I notice, versus one-on-one. And I notice a lot of Reiki masters just,
Yes, because
they
they're already
gently guide
aware
right
of the
into it.
way energy works. They're already in it.
Exactly. So if you're not sure, or, I would say definitely start out with being a conduit for the energy. Like Reiki is a good way to start but you don't necessarily need that. I've activated people that don't have any kind of energy work. So I don't want to put that in like that you have to have that, because I had no Reiki experience at all.
I didn't
What I
either.
did, I attuned myself to the life force energy and used my heart space because that's a Lemurian trait of healing. And I don't necessarily heal with my hands. I heal with my heart. So my heart opens up. Okay. And that's how I feel the energy come in. And so, my modality was different. And so what I want to tell everybody here is that it's going to be different for everyone. And some people,
Exactly.
it just needs to take a little clearing process and releasing in order to really fully express yourself. Okay. But you got to believe it that because everybody has a soul language. You don't have to be special.
Oh yeah.
You really
Exactly.
don't. So
Exactly.
I had
Every
somebody
single
says,
one of us.
okay, Tammy is saying, I had a spine surgery at 51. When I woke up, my whole world has been different. I don't understand it. That was your awakening, honey. That's what I heard loud and clear. You are awakening to a different version of your reality now.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting into your
I
spiritual
just
side.
saw Tammy like stepping through this door, stepping through a
Yes.
gateway. And you know what? Actually, that's something that's interesting. Is we were just discussing this with someone in the course that their wife went in for surgery and got the surgery, right? Got the upgrades on the surgery, the physical upgrades on the body, and then came out speaking about all of these different things and in this new awareness of energy. And I find it kind of funny and ironic. I never know the best English word, right? But that they went in for this physical upgrade and came out with this sort of spiritual one as well. It was like, well, she got
Yep.
a few extra things that she wasn't necessarily looking for, but you know, as long as you're open to it, that's great.
Okay. I have another question. How long after cord cutting can you do light language activation? Okay. How long after a cord cutting can we do a light language activation? So I'm assuming, are you talking about for yourself, a theraploid, or are you talking about as a service to others? If you're doing it on somebody else, or is this for your own healing? So if you can answer that question so that I can answer it correctly. I first seen Deb's TikToks, I was fascinated. Aw, thank you, Shelley. You know, light language touches the soul, and so you're going to gravitate to those that you resonate with.
Exactly.
Okay, Tammy, that same Tammy is, okay, I don't see things, but I feel things and I hear things. That's me.
Yeah.
Okay. Do not like try and categorize yourself. Like I want to do or compare yourself to others. Your abilities are turned on for a reason. Okay. Strong hearers and feelers are that they are able to tune into individuals to help
Right.
them understand what's going on with them. It's a healer's trait, but it's also to like that's what a lot of teachers do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that you won't be able to see. It's just that those are probably your dominant clairs right now. Those
Right.
other ones will open up. I still see things. Okay. I just don't, that's not my dominant clair, if that
Right.
makes sense. It's like my dominant is feeling. Okay. I feel
Mm-hmm.
everything. And then my hear,
Right.
okay, that's I basically all of my clairs are open, but those two are my dominant ones. Okay. So it's just paying attention to what is and then working with those. Don't worry about you not being able to see, okay?
Right.
Because that will start to come in. You want to really work with, and that's why we started this Starseed Intuitive Awakening course, because we wanted people to have a safe place to learn their way of channeling, because everybody's way
Exactly.
is differently. Yeah.
Exactly. And by leaning into the abilities that you find are most front facing or dominant for you, eventually the others will start to open up. As Deb was saying, it's so important to know that it's the only right way to do something is the way that works for you. And
Yeah.
I've come across so many people over the years in the time that I've sort of been doing what I'm doing that will tell me a story. I'll say, okay, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. Why are we here? What do we want to talk about? What do we want to learn? What do you
Yeah.
want to do? This is your time. And they'll start telling me stories, and I say, oh, so you're clairvoyant, or oh, so you're clairsentient, or you're clairaudient, and they'll go, what? No, and I'm like, but what you just explained to me is you using that,
Yeah.
and sometimes it just kind of takes that wait a second, let me
Aha,
reframe
aha
this for
moment. The
people,
aha moment.
right?
Yeah.
For people to
Mm-hmm.
realize, because the things that we're doing now, like, granted, right now is an amazing time. So many are awakening, and the world is so much more open to spirituality and the unseen or the unknown, as we like to sort of call it in a broad term. But growing up, this isn't something that we had such easy access to. There was really nowhere to find
Zero.
information. And so,
Zero.
yeah, exactly. So we sort of get these stigmas of what these abilities are and what they should be based on whatever we could access, whether that was like Long Island Medium or,
Yeah.
whatever we had growing
It
up.
was Sylvia
And
Brown back in my day. Sylvia Brown
Sylvia
was,
Brown. I
yeah.
read so many Sylvia Brown books. My grandma has like every single
I
one, and
have them
that's what I was
all. I
reading
have
as
them
a kid.
all. Yeah. Are
Oh
they in
yeah.
alignment with me? Not really. But back
But
then they
at the
really
time
helped
they
me.
helped. Yeah.
They
At the
helped
time
me.
they helped me
Mm-hmm.
too.
Yeah. Okay. So she's saying cord cutting for herself. She did a cord cutting. Now, what I want to make sure people understand, just because you have a cord cutting ceremony doesn't mean that those cords won't reattach.
Yes.
Cord cutting needs to be consistent. Okay. So don't think that there needs to be a certain like outline, okay, of okay, I do this and then this is next, right? It doesn't work
Right.
that way. Okay, it's a choice. When you choose to be activated and when it feels right in your alignment, you're making that decision. It's time. Okay.
Right.
So if you want to get activated with light language, you have to set that intent. I'm ready. You'll feel it within you. Don't don't
Exactly.
feel that you have to wait because you feel like, oh, I have all this healing to do. You're going to be healing the entire time you're here. That's part of this
Yes.
process and ascension. We're going to be clearing out as we move up. So it's never done. The cord cutting, I do it all the time.
Oh
It's
yeah, me
consistent. Like,
too. All day long. And that's while we're sort of talking about cord cutting, I think that, as you were saying, it really is important for people to know that if you are still in contact with someone, say you're in close quarters, they live in your house, they live close by, this person calls you, texts you, uh, gets in contact with you, you think of them, they think of you, that sends an energetic cord right back. So as long as this person is in your life in some way or in your thought, there will be an energetic cord. And so
yeah,
it's really important,
exactly.
as Deb was saying, that this is a consistent thing, that this is a consistent practice.
And to
I
be
always
aware of.
recommend, yeah, I always recommend at least 3 times a day. I say a general rule of thumb is when you wake up, halfway through the day, before you go to bed, and in between, if you go to the grocery store, if you go to work, you have a rough day at work, if you go to a crowded place, you want to be taking a moment to cleanse your energy, cut cords, call your energy back to you, and just sort of sit in your own energy for a moment.
Yeah. Like what I notice is my cord will reattach to family members. It's totally normal.
Yes.
It's also, it will reattach to, past relationships if you allow that communication or you allow
Right.
that thought pattern to continue to disrupt you. Okay. And so people are like, well, I just cut that cord with him. I'm like, well, it's attached again because you're either thinking about him or you're allowing him back in your life. And so just know you can't cut a cord to somebody you're allowing back in your life. Okay.
Right.
But you can set an intention that you're allowing it not to affect you. Okay. You're allowing their shit show not to affect you.
Right.
Okay. And that's how it's really simple. You have the choice. You hold the power. It's your decision. It's your intent. Intent is everything here. We're creators. That's the magical thing about our race, or our existence here as a human, is that we create what we speak and with our intentions and our thought patterns and what our belief system is. So that's why you're seeing chaos of different belief systems happening in the world. But if we were all on board, it would be really, peaceful, right? We'd all have the same belief system, but
Right.
we're all believing different things. And that's okay. That's the beauty of coming here, is being the
Exactly. Everyone's
creator.
on their own journey. We're all
Yeah.
one, but we're all individual as well, as we're in this human experience. And
Hmm.
your reality really is based on your perception. And so we could be in the exact same situation, and we could be thinking two completely different things. Like we could go out together to do whatever, and we could both leave thinking two completely different things. I could be like, "That was great," and Deb could be like, "I'm exhausted," And
Yeah.
this is all the time, right? This is life. Is that
Yeah,
we all are living in
exactly.
this different reality. I had a lot of questions that I missed, so I'm like
Okay. Yes,
scanning
let's
the
get on the
filing
questions.
cabinet in my brain. So, guys, please feel free to repost them. I promise I'm not purposely trying to ignore the comments, but I like to be engaged in the conversation as well. So, I'm going to scan through some that I remember seeing really quickly. So, someone asked, how do you know what activation is for you? There are several different ones. And what I would say to that is that if we're speaking about a soul language activation, there really is only one soul language activation. And in that soul language activation, the person that you're sitting with, an activator, if you're going that route, is going to tune into you and do the necessary clearing within your body. There's going to be a release, and then they're going to call in your higher self, your team of guides, and bring in the specific dialects that come in for you. So I have some clients, their energy's very soft and light, and they'll have angels coming in and Lemurian energy and Venusian, and sometimes I have Arcturian amphibians, and sometimes I
Yep.
have Fae. But what's important is that they're bringing in the codes that are meant for you. So every single
Yeah.
person has their own soul language dialect, and they may be similar. Deb and I both have a lot of Lemurian in ours, but mine is a little bit different than her, because we've had a lot of similar lifetimes together, but
Right.
we may have different ones that resonated more on a soul level or in the
Right.
heart than one another. So when you're speaking of a soul language activation, if someone's specifically speaking of a soul language activation, there really only is one. Now, there are different activations that you will see, and these are dialect attunements, and Deb does a ton of these. And so if you're looking at different attunements, what that is
Right.
that you're going in with the intention that the person that's sitting in front of you, the activator, is channeling a specific type of being. So it may be fairy, it may be Arcturian, it may be dragon, it may be
Right.
we're doing a reptilian attunement soon. So they're coming in and they are specifically channeling the light language of those beings, and they're helping you to calibrate physically and spiritually and energetically to the level to meet that level to speak that specific dialect,
Right.
okay? And there is no right or wrong for which ones you choose to go to, if you choose to go to any at all. As with everything, Deb and I always say, go where you're drawn. So if you are seeing something and you're thinking, ooh, that looks interesting, then more than likely that's something that's in alignment with you. Test it out. But everyone is going to be drawn to different things. Now,
Right.
when I first started, I was all about all of it, right? Because I just
Me
woke up
too.
one
Yeah.
morning and I was like, I'm a fairy, and everybody was like, what? And I was like, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. I promise. Everybody thought I was nuts. Um, but I was outside talking to the lizards and the bugs and the house,
I
the door, the
know.
walls. Who cares? Whoever would listen or whatever, even if they weren't
Yeah.
listening. And so when I saw Deb doing these different dialect attunements back then, she was doing them live. I would
Yeah.
sign up
That
for
was
every
difficult.
single one immediately. And there was something so beautiful in that as well, is that sometimes it's just sort of a confirmation that you need, because there were many times that I would see her do these and then my brain would go, oh, wait, I do that. Now I can separate that dialect. And now when someone asks, I can say with confidence that's Syrian or that's Venusian or that's Lemurian. Whereas before it's kind of like, I don't know what it is, but the intent's good. So that's totally up to
Yeah.
you.
Hi, everybody. So Allison is the attunement picked by the soul or the activator? It's always soul contracted. So just know that whatever choice you make is the right one because your soul gravitated to it. Okay. And in these sessions, I just help bring in the codes needed and calibrate you to that density needed. And the reason why we do this is because if you're going to be an activator, a strong activator of soul language, you really kind of want to have your dialects and attuned to them
Right.
and already calibrated so that you can resonate or hear like Tina and I always go back and forth and like, what does it sound like to you? This sounds like this, because we're attuned to them, or it will trigger a dialect. For instance, if somebody I'm activating starts speaking an Arcturian dialect, it will trigger my Arcturian dialect. I'll then respond with it, and I'll know that it's an Arcturian. It could be an Orion or some sort of dragon dialect or fairies, or, and then I notice sometimes in the soul language activations that it comes with that a lot of Octurians as well as Pleiadians hold your soul contracts, and so they'll insert a new contract as I'm activating you, and so that they'll come in and congratulate you and speak Pleiadian. Your Pleiadian guide will step in and congratulate you for the next step in your journey. So that comes in. Sometimes it's Octurian, sometimes it's both. Sometimes I'm activating and it's all dragon that's coming in. It just depends on that particular starseed or that individual that's stepping in. But just remember, you're multidimensional. You're coming into this as a starseed with lots of experience. Don't put yourself in a box. Like, just because I speak Lemurian doesn't mean I'm just Lemurian. I speak many dialects, and I'm attuned to all of them. And that is what helps me to recognize it in other individuals as I'm activating them. Because the first thing they ask me is, what am I speaking? Who am I? Like,
exactly. People want to know what is this? Who is this? And it helps, even just that knowledge, right? Because the human brain wants to know that knowledge of you being able to share that helps to unlock something within them. And maybe they go to sleep that night and they have a dream, or maybe, whatever it is, they start remembering and embodying.
Oh, I love that, Georgia. She says she's channeling Hydra light beings lately. Our energy is good for women. I don't know if I've channeled them. I would have to call them in to calibrate to them or see if I've channeled them. But I love that.
I'm not sure I have either, but my hands are going crazy.
Seth is my son.
Just down here.
My son Seth has been. He saw a crystal being the other day in my energy, and I felt a shift in my energy, and I was like, "Whoa, what was that?" And Seth said, "I just saw this like crystal-looking being coming into your energy," and I was like, "Wow," it makes me like whatever he tells me these things. I'm like, I felt the shift, and I felt like silence for a second. I don't know if you guys ever experienced that, where all of a sudden it's like, okay, where did I just go? So that was coming in a lot. Like, some new guys are stepping into my awareness that I'll be calibrating to. And I think he was seeing a Yeti too. Yeah, which is like an ice
hearing
cream.
About what he's seeing.
I know he's got some really cool guides.
He has some really cool guides. Really, really cool guides.
Are there any other questions on your end? I know you said you had some.
Yeah, I had someone asking if I self-activated, should I still do a clearing? And what I want to say to that is, it's really up to you. If you're already using and speaking, that's beautiful. Personally, I clear my energy very often, and if I feel like I need it, I'll look to Deb or someone else that I trust, that I resonate with, to help clear my energy. Tyel and I do that for each other a lot. We used to anyway, when I was out in Washington. So it's totally up to you. Now, if you have questions about, like, maybe you're speaking and you don't know what you're speaking yet, or things like that, first I'm always going to say, ask. Take the time, sit and ask. But if you're really feeling like you could use that assistance, or you could use the clearing, or maybe you have questions, you could do that. It's totally up to you. And for that, I would say you would maybe just book like a general reading or clearing with someone. But if you're already using your soul language, you're activated. You don't need to be activated again. It's already turned on.
Right.
Unless you want to attune to another dialect, and then that would just be a calibration and attunement.
I say you always want to help self-heal. You always want to run energy through and light language through your body, just because it's beneficial. But just know that you're constantly going to be healing in this process and releasing. Crying is key to elevating your energy. when you get those ugly cries on and you really feel into some of the, sometimes it's past life or sometimes it's just the moment of how you feel, when you purge, then you're able to lift to a higher state of consciousness, but because then there's more room.
Absolutely.
Okay, you're making room for the energy to come in and kind of calibrate. And so a lot of codes that you automatically start receiving energetic wise by these portals that are open or by just viewing other people, um, is necessary for us to release before this happens or during the process. And so that's why you notice like sometimes you'll just cry out of nowhere. Once you're activated with light language, it really starts to, like, that healing process starts to really come through. Well, we got to purge in order to make room. Okay. So I say always, always clear. Okay. Always do a self-healing. Always check in with yourself. This is what they're saying. Check in. How am I feeling today? Okay.
Several times a day. Several
Yeah.
times a day.
Yeah.
And that's been my best advice as well. I had someone asking the other day, I'm in this energy, I'm attuned to Reiki or this, so this is what I'm working in, and um, I feel like I just can't sense other people's energy and I can't sense my guides. And that's what I said. I said my best bit of advice is that if you are wanting to tune in and sense the energy of others, if you're wanting to tune in and sense the energy of your guides or hear them or feel them or see them, start with understanding how your own energy feels. Daily self check-ins, consciously pushing energies out, sit in your own energy, clear your energy. How does your energy feel? And the more that you can get in tune with how your energy feels, the easier it's going to be for you to notice those subtle shifts in your energy when you're connecting with someone else. Because sometimes they come in like a wrecking ball, those signs or symbols, but sometimes they're very, very subtle. And the more that
Yeah.
you work with them, the more that they'll start coming in. And thank you so
Absolutely.
much for the gifts, everyone. I appreciate you so very much.
Malalo.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Everybody's just
I just
commenting
have,
on, yes, I cried so
yeah,
deeply. Like crying is, it really does elevate you. Okay. So
absolutely.
working on our traumas.
Absolutely.
And any other questions on your end? If you guys have questions on my end, just put them down.
Yeah, please continue dropping your questions in the comments, and if we missed them, just feel free to keep reposting them in the comments. We're not purposely ignoring, we're just in the
Yeah.
conversation. So I did have someone say, does religion matter when you pass on? And in my personal opinion, it does not matter. It
What,
does
I'm
not
sorry,
matter
what
at
did she
all.
say?
Does
What was the question?
religion matter? Does religion matter when you pass on? In my
Does it
personal
matter?
opinion, does it matter when you pass on? I believe that's in regards to as far as what's going to happen, what's the next step for your soul, and in my opinion, absolutely not.
No, no,
We
no,
are
no.
all multi-dimensional beings
Yeah.
of light. We're so multifaceted. We are all living, breathing examples of universal energy. And so I never want to knock anyone's faith or religion. I want people to believe in what brings them hope and joy and comfort. However, no one
No.
specific religion is going to be treated different than another when you exit this physical shell.
Eric
It's
is,
just that
is
while we're
coming.
here in
Eric is
that,
chiming in. Eric's chiming in right now. He's a really strong guide to me. And he's talking about how, see, this is what happens. Religion, sometimes what happens is people, when they start to cross over, they get stuck in between because they believe they should go to hell or they believe, so they're
right?
creating that experience. And
And
so
it's a
they're like,
programming.
this is such a good question because it really
Yeah,
is what you believe. Okay. And so, like for me, I believe we create whatever we want. And so whatever that looks
exactly.
like, if I'm running through a tunnel to get there, I'm going to cross over, or
Right.
do I have angels come and bring me there? I create that experience. And this is, he says, humanity has lost this understanding,
Right.
and a lot of religion is programmed to believe it's black and white, right or wrong. Well,
Exactly.
that's
And
not true. Okay.
no, these are
It's what
human
you believe.
constructs. These are human constructs, and this is what we're talking about when we say things like religious programming, because outside of this physical shell, there is no separation. The separation, 9 times out of 10, if not all of them, is created by man is created by human
Yep.
constructs. These
Yep.
are all things that we've created while we've been here on this planet.
Based on a human perspective.
Right, right. And it's, we're
Yeah.
here for the human experience. And so
Mhm.
it's normal, but it's,
Yeah. It could be hindering sometimes. Yeah. But really it is what you create. It's what your belief system is. Sometimes there's souls that are stuck in between, such as children that don't know their God. We're
right.
kind of help them assist it. Everything is a lesson though, and a learning experience, because
Absolutely.
you're a multidimensional being. You've experienced being different beings. You're eternal. And so, what that being stuck, say, for thousands of years is nothing. Okay. If you're stuck in that little, in between space, it's a learning lesson. But you're experiencing having different lifetimes, being different beings or energies, such as these different starseed origins, to create and learn. Okay. But the beauty of humanity is we're the key to creating what we want and our
Right.
belief system. That's why there's so many different belief systems,
Exactly.
you know. So, and it's not right or wrong, it's a choice. That's what Eric goes, it's a choice. It's their decision. It's what's in alignment with them. That's why Tina and I don't tell people how to be or what religion to believe in. We
No,
know
absolutely
that
not.
it's their belief system. It's whatever they want to believe. But don't come telling
Absolutely.
me what I have to believe in, or I'm going to
Exactly.
hell because of what I believe, right? I don't do that.
Right.
That's creating fear. It's called fear mongering, he said.
Yeah. I was
And
actually
just
just having
accept
this
that you're not on the
conversation
same
like
page.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just having this conversation like 2 days ago because I love humanity. That's why I'm here. That's why I keep coming back. But if there's
And
one thing that I dislike above all other things, it's when people try to tell other people how they should be and what they should do, and they need to do this and they can't do that, and they're not allowed to believe this and they'd better believe this, or making fun of people or making people feel bad because they like a certain thing or they eat a certain way or they dress a certain way. Like, fuck off. I don't care what
yeah,
other people do as long as they're not
I
hurting
don't
other
either.
people. I say do what makes you feel happy, that makes
Yeah.
you feel comfort and joy and love, and that is the ultimate human experience, right? Is finding that happiness and that joy.
Yeah.
So do
Erica
that.
is
Do
saying
more of that.
also, sometimes when you're playing a different role, say it's a negative role, it's also
Right?
teaching that person something, whether it's discernment or, it's okay. We got to find that balance. We're not all going to be happy all the time. We're going to say some
Oh,
nasty
yeah.
things sometimes. Okay. It's what we're tuning into, or it could be you got to teach that person a lesson. It's okay, you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and we take
Everything is
turns in
okay.
we take
Yeah,
turns in those roles here in this incarnation, right?
exactly.
Sometimes we trigger people. Do we
Hmm.
purposely do that? No. But sometimes we trigger people, sometimes other people trigger us, and I don't, well, maybe some people, I don't know, not me. My intention is never purposely like, let me piss off this person today.
No,
But sometimes you do, and that's
sometimes it
okay because
triggers
it
you because
all
you have to. Yeah,
right, it all
yeah,
serves a purpose.
yeah.
It's all serves a purpose. Hi
Okay,
everyone.
so Chris Yazzie, my tones I get in my ears have been getting very faint. Thoughts on the tones disappearing. It could be you need a clearing. If it's too faint, or maybe it's just where you need to be in that moment. Sometimes they can get faint when they come in close. It can kind of shut off. Um,
Right.
let's see. Let me ask Eric too what he says about that.
And what I'm feeling as well is like what I'm feeling and seeing is a shift. Like there was sort of a shift in the
Yeah,
alignment. So it may just be that you're no longer in alignment with these energies and
that's what I'm
there are
feeling
new
too.
frequencies ready to come in because I got the feeling of like integration, like you sort of integrated those. And
Right.
so it may not come in as frequency, it may come in as a thought, a sight, a feeling. You might hear something in your ears or the back of your mind. So it may sort of be that you're not necessarily in alignment with the frequency of that anymore. You might understand it, and now there's something higher coming in.
And then I also feel you in your thoughts about it. And so just remember that our thoughts of not hearing or speaking that in intent out will create that experience too as well. So make sure you say, oh, I'm now hearing, I'm now feeling, I'm now seeing, like really open that up too as well for communication. Cause we can get in our head that, oh shoot, I'm not connected anymore. And then we worry, right? And that
Right.
creates that experience. And so they brought me to her headspace.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also some stuffy here in here. So there needs to be what I'm feeling as a clearing because it's kind of stuck right here. All of a sudden I can't breathe now tuning into you.
Yeah.
So that's just telling me that things aren't flowing right. So self-care, running some energy through your body, some light language if you can. If you don't have that access, get in nature and allow yourself to kind of heal on its own because I'm really feeling like, okay, ooh, yeah, you're picking up on people. There's some emotions there too, sweetie. Get your ugly cry on. That's what happens to me. If I get too much here in my crown and too much pressure here, I know I got to release because the codes and the information is coming in, but it has nowhere to go because there needs to be a purging process or a release. Okay. An ugly cry but I'm feeling like I need to go sit in nature and kind of get some emotions out. Okay. So try that. See if that helps open and clear that for you. Okay. Yeah. Real stuffy right here. Yapa mahatuture shakayo um so there's some blue avians that want you to get outside. That's what I'm hearing. The birds have some codes for you too as well to help open and expand what's needed. Wow. Yeah. You also need to transmute and then your root chakra is off centered to the left. So working on your root chakra, which is like your safety, okay, feeling safe in the physical world, staying grounded, okay. That's what I'm feeling like you need to get outside, ground that root chakra, okay. That's a lot of where monetary concerns are too as well. I do feel like there needs to be definitely a clearing and transmuting and grounding big time. Okay. That will help you. Your root is off to the left a little bit. Okay. So lining that energetically. I hope that makes sense for you, sweetie. Hi, Carrie. Pasola.
Hi, everyone. So I have a question. Does being activated help connect you more with your guides? And in my opinion, absolutely yes. But I do want to add in as well that if you are not feeling in alignment with soul language or light language right now or even ever, that doesn't mean that you will not be able to connect with your guides because every single person
Yeah,
is different. But for me personally, when my soul language activated and I started consciously using it and
it's
setting the
phenomenal.
intention to use it and allowing and was practicing, I was speaking it all day, every day. I probably didn't speak very much English for quite some time. But when I started doing that, it blew everything open. And suddenly I was seeing, feeling, smelling, hearing guides. They were like all around me. And I feel like being activated because it unlocks a piece of you. It sort of cracks open and allows your soul to come out a little bit more. And especially when you're using those dialects as well, it's just a
Thank
stronger
you.
connection. It's sort of hard to explain, but it's not a necessary step to do so, but absolutely, it sort of amplifies everything.
It will definitely help with a clearer communication
Oh,
and
yeah.
it helped me to better understand what type of guides were coming in and I could start to hear them what they were saying, but that is because I'm a telepath,
Right.
so I can hear a lot of what my guides are saying to me. And the more once you get turned on and activated, I call it turning on because really it's coming online in a sense. Okay. Once you're activated with your soul language, and then you're going to go through better understanding you first. Then your guides are going to step in, and then you're going to be understanding when they come in, and then you'll start to understand the messages that are coming in. You'll feel it. You'll feel their emotions. You'll start to hear phrases and things in your head. Those that have been activated are understanding this now. You'll understand what guides are coming in, and a lot of times I'll say, okay, I need to speak with this particular guide, and they'll step in, and then I'll communicate with them. Sometimes you do it not even knowing you're doing it, but you're constantly speaking to your guides because your soul knows exactly what you need to do. Okay. The mind won't understand it, but the soul knows what's going on. Okay. So just allow your soul to connect with your guides. Okay. A lot of times I get guides in the middle of the night and they'll wake me up and they'll talk through me and communicate, or they'll activate something within me. Okay. That is how I activated my palm chakras. I sat up in the middle of the night. They came in and activated my palms. Okay. For coding. Okay. I do feel like it has helped me tremendously with understanding my guides and understanding the messages. Sometimes, they're there to comfort you too. And so when you feel alone in those moments, being an activator is not easy because you're stepping out of a comfort zone and you're sharing this part of yourself that's different to humanity. You get made fun of. Okay. And in this process, you need your guides there, and they really help you. So they give you that support and comfort needed to help you work through the judgments of others, because you will get judged. It's part of the learning process. It's part of the process and awakening. You have to go through these stages. And it's not all cupcakes and rainbows. I'm being honest. It can be very challenging because it really does bring up shadow work, right? It brings
absolutely.
up so much. Mm-hmm.
But that's an opportunity when those things are brought up. It's an opportunity to heal them and clear them in order to make space for expansion. It's kind of like cleaning out your closet. It gets to a certain point where there's so much junk in your closet, you can't possibly put new exciting things in your closet because they have nowhere to go. So just like, you might spring clean your house or whatever it is, you're cleaning that out and you're making the space to bring in something new that brings you joy. That's how I view clearing and releasing and shadow work and the crying and the rough spots that I feel like aren't spoken about as much as they should be, because they're absolutely a huge, huge part of the journey. And so it's not all cupcakes and rainbows, but I can promise you that it is 100% worth it. Yeah. Absolutely worth it. Because once you start working through those things and you start integrating these shadows as a part of yourself and acknowledging and showing them love, you will be able to find a higher level of joy and happiness than you had before. And I can't explain it other than when it happens, you'll feel it and you'll understand.
Yeah.
You'll know.
And people don't understand
I'm actually
light
happier
language
than I've ever been,
And the reason why people don't understand light language is because it's not in their consciousness awareness of understanding yet. Until you're activated with it, you're not going to get it or understand it. Period.
Right. And it doesn't
I had a
mean
question
it never
here.
Will be.
Can we study more than one healing modality? I feel drawn to Reiki and light language. Yes.
Absolutely.
You gravitate to what you feel you need. Period.
Absolutely.
It's just going to benefit you, honey. Yeah.
Stay curious, ask questions, go where you're drawn. Don't feel like you have to go in one room and shut the door, because we're multidimensional beings and we don't work that way, So go wherever you're drawn, blend as many things as you want, and that's sort of how you start creating your own modalities as well.
Yep. Hi, everybody coming on. Okay. Hi. Says Super Dog. I have a question. Any of you ladies aware of corruption and deception? I'm stuck in a perpetual loop. Well, that's your belief system that you're choosing to believe in, sweetie. So you believe in the corruption and the deception, and that's the experience you're going to have. I don't gravitate there. I gravitate to hope and positivity, and that we're all awakening and we're all kind of coming online to our abilities so that we can see past the illusion and the corruption. Okay. But if you're constantly in the fear-based programming, then you're going to be stuck there because you're choosing to be there. So remember, it's a choice. If you want to feel stuck, then you're going to feel stuck. It's your choice. Eric keeps saying it's your choice. Remember what your mind is going to, or what you're viewing on social media is going to be what's going to create your experience in that moment. So if you're in this loop, get out of it by switching your awareness to something else. Okay?
I
Masolalo,
agree.
Ishayo, Aturayo, Mayo, Kiaradi. This Lyran guide stepping in and
Yeah.
saying, it's a choice. Masolalo, Kia, Tuya, Hanoya, Huahalo. That's the beauty of our race is, again, creativity, and the choices are ours. It's free will. And the free will is not just making a decision. The free will is deciding, what do I want to create today? What do I want to focus on today? Right? And we can bounce back and forth, and that's okay. It's all lesson. It's all experiencing, and your choice might be different than somebody else, but Eric's like, but don't judge yourself. Don't judge
Right.
yourself for if you're making the wrong decisions or getting caught in that loop of, the corruption or deception or focusing too much on fear-based things. He says, just change it. It's simple.
Change the channel.
Yeah. Focus on love instead of fear.
Yeah, every single moment of our lives we are co-creating with the universe. Okay?
Exactly.
It's kind of like when you look about when you look at two children that grow up in a situation, maybe even in the same home, right? Two children can grow up in the same home, and they might not have the most desirable relationships with their family or living conditions. And those two children, they sort of have a choice as they grow up, right? I'm not expecting a 5-year-old to make a massive life decision, but as you get older,
Yeah.
and this has been my experience. My brother and I are two completely different people. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that there's anything right or wrong about who I am or who he is, but you can look at a situation and two children can grow up in the same situation, and one could say, I want to be nothing like this. I don't want to create this experience. And the other could say, this is what's familiar. This is what I'm going to follow. And there's no right or wrong because that's all a
Yeah. It's
perception.
just a
It's
choice.
just what you choose.
Yeah.
It's what you
And, I
choose.
always think, okay, if I feel into something, if something makes me feel crazy or makes me feel fear-based, or I immediately go into fear, then I know it's not in alignment with me. It's not in
It's
alignment.
something,
I'm not
yeah.
watching that bullshit. I'm not hearing it. There's a lot of things too that I refuse to go into that is one it's black and white, such as reptilians. I'm sorry, but we have reptilians that are helping us. They're not all bad.
Right.
And so it's
Right.
when I hear that manipulation and that fear-based program,
Right.
it triggers me because that's not what I know to be truth based on my guides and the information that I receive,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. And
So
it perpetuates a cycle.
it
The
does.
same way
It's,
that a small act of kindness can sort of start a wave, one
mhm,
small bit of fear perpetuates that cycle. It's kind of like if you look at the
exactly.
comments section, everybody's got a positive thing to say. One person says something negative, and then other people are like, "Oh, I'll do it too."
Right.
It's like
It's yeah, it's a
it's sort
pattern.
of the human nature to follow, right? And work through those patterns.
Eric's like it's using discernment during those times.
Right.
Are you following the
Exactly.
leader just because, or is it something you really believe?
Right. And
You know?
does it make you feel good? Like as Deb was
Yeah,
saying that anything that makes me feel self-conscious about myself or makes me feel bad about myself, that's an immediate no from me. It's
yeah,
a no from me because I choose not to put myself in that space. So kind of think about how when you read something, you hear something, feel into it. How does it make you feel? Because every single one of us, as we'll keep saying
exactly.
it over and over, is in a different reality based on their perception. And that doesn't make me better than you or you better than me. It just means that that's your reality and
Yeah,
that's yours. That's yours. Nobody can take that from you. But absolutely using discernment and
yeah,
everything that we read, that we see, that we engage with, that becomes our spiritual diet. The spiritual diet isn't just what you're eating, what you're ingesting. It's also what
Yep.
you're listening to, who you're
Yep.
surrounding yourself with, what you're watching on TV, the things that you engage with online, that you create chords to, that you invite into your reality. Um, and we'll say it over and over again. Not everything can be love and light and sunshine and rainbows all the time, because that's just not real unless maybe you're a robot. Um, but just
Yeah.
know that you have a choice. You have a choice.
Eric's laughing because he's
Eric's
like,
like, I'm always happy.
and he's laughing because it's so true. Like the spiritual journey, when you see the ones that are like, oh, love and light, and and it's like,
Right.
bitch, sometimes you just gotta say F off. Like
Yeah.
it's you have to use discernment and everything, but you got to know that you're still human. You're still nobody is perfect in this
No. No.
journey. And when
Absolutely
that
not.
is projected as perfection, then that's a shadow. That's a shadow aspect of
Right.
perfection in itself. And so you're going to mess up, you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. Everything is a learning experience. So in this journey, yes, I'm channeling all these different beings. Like Tina and I are really channeling from high density level beings. And we're coming through with all this information, but we're still real. We're still human. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not the same person. Okay. I'm still human. Okay. We still go
Right.
through the outside world, the matrix, those experience. We still got to live here in this journey. And so just don't judge yourself in those moments. Forgive yourself and move on. He's like, don't try and like get wrapped up into that cycle. Okay.
Right.
Is what he's saying. Let me see. I did have a question.
Okay.
Suggestions for hearing from my spiritual team. Past few months, I can't hear messages, feeling blocked.
The first thing that's coming in is, what are you believing and speaking? Are you believing and speaking that you are blocked? Are you feeling overwhelmed with the energy of others? Are you consciously taking time to push everything out, everyone out? Sitting in your own energy, calling your energy back, cutting those cords, and asking for them to come in one at a time?
No, they're there.
Oh yeah, they're there for sure.
I can feel them all around you.
But I feel like there's a lot going on, and
It's
so it's sort of difficult to pull one in or differentiate, is what I'm feeling, because there's a lot of
it
other
feels like
people's
they want
energy in
to.
this space.
It feels like the reason why is because they're wanting her to like reevaluate and focus in on herself rather than them. They want you to pay attention to how you're feeling in the moment. And if you're feeling like you're not, it could be also, okay, Eric's like, she's kind of at a in-between phase too, where meaning it's rest time and then it's going to be go time. Okay. So you're kind of receiving right now in this moment, setting
That's
boundaries.
okay. Setting boundaries for sure.
And transmuting, because right away they're making me want to cough and clear your energy. Okay. So, and they're also bringing my attention to your throat, and they're saying there needs to be some healthy communication with others too. And right away, it's all in the head. So remember what you're focusing on. Like Tina said, that's the first thing that she tuned into was what you're focusing on. So like we said, you create your experience. So make sure you're focusing, like saying, I can hear my guides. I just feel a lot of pressure coming in through your crown and your third eye right now. So you're definitely receiving right now. But your guides are there. I feel like it's more, there needs to be some clearing too as well. It's not just one thing, honey.
No, I feel if it's like a lot. Like I feel like I'm
Yeah,
swirling.
I'm
There's energy
overwhelmed.
swirling around, energy from other people, more than one guide. It's just kind of like a lot going on.
And you can't hear them because there's also no direction from you
Right.
to them.
Intent is what I was going to say. Focused intent
Yeah.
as well.
So tell them, when because they're all kind of coming in like this, surrounding you instead of one at a time. You got to tell them.
Tell
That's
them
one of
to
the
get
things
the
we
hell
teach
out of
in the
your energy.
courses. You have to tell
Push
your
them
team
out.
what's allowed, what's not
Yeah. And
allowed,
it's
when they can come in, when they can't. You can't hear anything clear because it's like, all
Right.
coming in at once.
It's like a
And
collective all at once. Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I'm feeling a lot of pressure here too now.
Mm-hmm.
So push them out of your space. So immediately
Push
I
them
just tell
out.
them, you got to back up
Yep.
and push them away and say, I need to just feel me right now. Back up.
Mm-hmm.
Then reevaluate how you're feeling, clear your energy, transmute, and then say, okay, I just want one guide at a time. Be specific with your team because otherwise
Exactly.
there's no rules. They're just going to come in whenever they feel like it
Right. And sometimes they will push you specifically till you
to
get to
do
the
that.
point where you get a little bit nasty and push them out and
Yeah,
set those boundaries, because the
absolutely.
boundaries that you set with them and spirit are going to resonate into your physical life as well.
Okay,
You know, there's all
take that
these
away.
different kinds of boundaries, but when you really start commanding energy around, you're going to start physically commanding a room,
But you're
and
wide
taking up
open.
space. Oh
You're wide
yeah, I
open.
feel that for sure.
That's it. That's not the issue, honey. Issue is just maintaining, setting boundaries with your
Right.
team. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Pushing everyone
you're
out.
open. I'm like, I don't
Oh
know why
yeah.
she thinks she can't hear it. I think it's just because there's too many coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Guys,
like,
if you, I know that I feel like I missed a lot of questions. So if you're still here and we didn't answer, please feel free to ask again. Um, and going back to what feels right or wrong, I have Cherie saying, I will get an instant yes or no as to what feels right and disengage very quickly from things now. And that's amazing. And I'm so proud of you. And that's why, for me, one of the things that I love to teach the most is sensing yeses and nos in the body, because once you have that ability to sense yes or no within your body and sort of use yourself and your inner compass and your body as your divination tool, there's really nothing that you can't do, and it does help you to sort of steer in and out of situations a little bit easier. And Amber, I just wanted to say that I'm really proud of you. I'm getting emotional and I want to cry, so I had to come back up to your comment. um, and Amber is saying that she just left a group of people and she feels much better. She didn't feel good there. She didn't feel good or safe there.
yeah.
So,
It's just, and it's not a
really proud
bad
of
thing.
you,
It's just
Amber.
not an alignment there anymore, honey.
Right,
That's all.
right. And that's
Yeah.
okay. The things that we're in alignment
You're
with, they
moving on
shift.
up, moving on
Exactly.
up.
Exactly. And they'll
Yeah.
shift along your journey. You know, there have
Yeah.
been people that I felt so incredibly aligned with, and I was always instantly drawn to them, and every time they did an event or something, I would sign up, and then things shifted a little bit, and
Yeah.
it wasn't because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm mad at them, I don't like them anymore. You know, there's I've never really felt that. But I just, things shift,
To
and
be the
somehow,
contract is over.
right, maybe the
Yeah.
contract has ended and you've stepped into a new one, you've stepped into a new focus, and suddenly you find yourself aligning with other people. Um, and all of it is absolutely okay. It is all absolutely okay. We're all on a journey, and everyone's journey is different, and they're at different paces. But what's most important is finding yourself and holding that
Yeah.
honor and respect for yourself at every stage. So please don't ever feel bad or feel like you missed something or anything like that, because what's in alignment for you is always going to come. And the contracts are constantly moving. They're showing me like a Rolodex in my mind. It's
Yeah.
just flipping through
Exactly.
contracts. Yeah.
It's a good thing, sweetie. And your guides are coming through with that emotion of love to make sure you know that you're supported during this transition. You're going to find a new group of people to follow or to kind of do things with just because it's the right thing now. It's the new contract, they're saying. Yeah. And that can be a really uncomfortable place to be. I remember when I ship contracts, I feel bad if I'm done with a contract. I feel bad like letting go of these individuals, but it's needed in order for those people to shift into their contracts and for me to kind of move on to the next one, you know?
Absolutely.
So they said to get used to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is just the way it is. Okay. I have a question. I'm a Reiki 1 and 2 and Master attuned. Haven't used 2 and Master in decades. Can a light language activation reactivate them? Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So first of all, Eric's like, it's like riding a bike, dude.
Exactly.
Okay. He's
It'll
uses
come
dude
right
because
back.
that's just how he talks. Okay, that's the way he speaks. Okay, but he's saying it's just it's it's the life force energy. One light language immediately attunes you to that. Okay,
Hmm.
just know that. And
Yeah.
the master that he's saying is already within you. Okay, so but it's aligning you to that frequency needed. But yeah, light language will definitely enhance that.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I have someone asking, I wonder why my soul chose to be born in one place, but now I feel to move to another part of the world. And this is because you're on this beautiful journey, right?
Yeah.
You have been all over the multiverse. You have been so many different beings. You have been pure light and pure energy. You've been in human bodies. You've been in maybe animal bodies or galactic bodies, maybe angelic bodies, you know. And so it's just your soul's curiosity to wander. And I've been feeling the same myself lately, you know. As you grow and as you expand, and as we're talking about contracts, right? As contracts end and we shift into new contracts, we feel that urge to move, to get moving, to experience a new
Yeah.
place, to see a new thing, and just start those new contracts and that new part of your journey. So I think it's a really exciting and beautiful thing, and I hope that you're able to do that and experience it.
Okay, what does it mean when I meditate? I can see clear images of things like I say hi and a someone waves. You're communicating. That's what it means. You're communicating.
Mm-hmm.
That means your clairvoyance is very active.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody coming
Hi,
on.
everyone. Hi, Ginger. Hi, everybody. If you guys have questions, please feel free to drop them. And if you've asked a question and we've missed it, please feel free to ask again. I get caught up in talking to Deb and then I miss the comments that go by.
And if you resonated with what was spoken, like they could be you're experiencing the same thing somebody else is asking about, then that message was for you as well. Setting boundaries with your team or, setting intentions with them. Make sure you're telling your team what's allowed and what's not allowed as far as your guides.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And someone said, I just saw a star seed talking about how dogs are star seeds. Do you believe that or no? My personal belief is that we really all are star seeds. I believe that we are all star seeds. But for me, the term star seed is something that I use to sort of explain people that feel drawn to that, right? Because we're all made of stars.
Yeah.
But you may not necessarily be interested in galactics or other star systems or planets. And so when that awareness starts coming in and sparking interest, that's when I really consider a person a starseed.
Yeah. And to me, it's a starseed is a person who has lots of experience on different worlds or
Right.
being a starseed, on different planets and has, kind of incarnated in different worlds. So there's a lot of experience behind it. And they've come in, like the starseeds right now have stepped in to help with the ascension and the awakening. Okay. They have a
Absolutely.
purpose here. Now,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's different on when they come online. Okay. When it's
Right.
that divine timing. And like for me, it was back in 2016. 2011, I started waking up. 2016 was when it was go time for me to learn more about who I was. Okay. Did I know I would be an activator? Hell no. I
I
had
don't think
no
anybody
idea.
did. I don't think any of
I
us
had
did.
no idea that that would be something I was doing. But I know that the first time I heard soul language, I cried. My soul understood it. And it was something that I never knew would come into my awareness until I started doing a healing on somebody. And then the word started to flow out of me. Okay. But everybody is different with this. Some people, it'll flow in naturally when they do the healing process. Sometimes you have to be activated. It's what's contracted. Okay.
Exactly.
So a lot of people that come to me, it's contracted for me to help them
Right.
to activate it, show them how to access it, basically. That's what it is.
Right. So I have someone asking, do you feel light language activation in your body the same as you feel a Kundalini awakening? And I would say that every single person is different. It really depends on what
Yeah.
your strongest thing is. If you're someone that is severely, severely clairsentient, you might feel things in your body. For
Yeah.
me, I'll explain how it felt to me because it sort of just showed up one day. But for me, it just sort of felt like a big expansion in my heart space. And I started to feel like my throat was open, like a breath of fresh air in my throat is how I felt. And then
Right.
as you connect with it and use it, or as you're using it consciously and you hear other people speak it, or they're, bringing codes to you, activations, clearing, whatever, you may feel it in your body in different ways, but every single person is different.
Yeah. Well, for me, just my experience with Kundalini runs straight down my back. And so
Right.
that was more of a connection there, but light language comes from the heart. So it's a soul, it comes from here. So you'll feel expansion there. Um, and sometimes it hurts when you're activated. So meaning you'll feel emotions start to come up when you're activated. So a lot of times people cry during their activation sessions.
Right.
It's
It's
normal.
it's very
Yeah.
emotional. It's very
Yeah.
emotional.
Because they're
Absolutely.
finally being able to speak.
Right. Because the human languages, I always want to say English, but English is definitely not the only human language, right? The human dialects, the human languages are so limited in terms of expression of emotion. And so that kind of leads into when people are asking of what does this translate into, or how does this translate, or I'm speaking this phrase, can you translate it, or they'll type it in the chat and say, what's that mean? It's really about the frequency and vibration. And
Yeah.
so it's about how you feel. And now, the more that you use it and practice it, and you're in a place of allowance, and you're being patient and using and practicing and have the intent, you will start to understand what you're saying, right? Sometimes it'll
Yes.
translate
Oh, yeah.
immediately in my mind. Sometimes I'll feel it in my body and know that's where it's meant to go. Sometimes I'll record something because the emotion comes up so deeply that I have to record myself, and then I'll go back and listen. But it's not going to be a direct translation, right? It's not like A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit different. And based on where every single person is on their journey, we as the people that are putting out the transmission or speaking it can tell you what it is from our perspective of what our intention was or what we felt when it came through and what we intend for you to feel or experience. But as every single person is different, you may feel it in your body in a different place than someone else. You may become emotional. Someone else might get angry. It's every single person's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah. I have a question. I've been having issues
Sure.
with dreams where I don't remember them or even dreaming at all. Any insight to that?
So the first thing that comes to my mind with that is making sure that you are, before you go to bed, if you're wanting to remember, there's a few things that you can do. Before you go to bed, make sure that you are consciously pushing out all energies, cleansing your energy from the day, transmuting, cutting those cords, calling your power back to you, and setting the intention that you are going to have a dream and you're going to remember it. And then when you wake
Yeah.
up in the morning,
Yeah.
before you pick up your phone to look at your alarm, check your social media feed, whatever it is, before you do anything else, see if there's anything that you can recall and say, I am pulling back information from my dreams, and see if you
There
get
you go.
anything. Jot it down. But this does happen to me a lot of the time as well. Most often for me, it's when I'm extremely busy. I've got two 4-year-olds. They're highly sensitive. They're both ASD, so it's constantly moving. I'm very busy. And a lot of the time, I don't necessarily remember my dreams. But when I try to tune back into it, I'll have a guide or someone say, it's because what's happening in this dream is very mundane. It's not necessarily important to your journey, and it's not something that you need to remember at this time. It's sort of, they consider it like
And
energetic
it could
clutter.
be, and it could be too also that you just need to rest. Okay.
Right.
You don't need to be
Exactly.
actively, yeah. And so, but what I always do is just set intentions. I'd like to start,
Right.
remembering my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I say that ahead of time. What does light language need to do? Okay. What does someone need to do to prepare for a light language with you, Deb? Oh, an activation. To prepare, you just need to have, first of all, have good Wi-Fi connection. Okay. Have water and tissue handy. Okay. And be in a quiet environment. And then I help you access it all. Okay. You just need to be in, and then also setting an intention for yourself that you're ready to speak your soul language. Okay.
Absolutely.
And then I'll help you do the rest, sweetie. Okay. But yeah, just make sure you have good Wi-Fi so that I can hear you, you can hear me, and you're in a quiet environment. That's all
Yes.
you need.
I have someone asking, can you tell when someone's ready to be activated, or do I have a long way to go? And what I will say to that is, one, yes, an activator can tell when someone is ready to be activated. For me, it's a feeling in the throat. For me, it feels like I have a frog or a bubble in my throat that like has to come out, or I'll feel it in the heart space, like wanting to break free. But what I would say is that a strong activator can activate you at any time if you show up, right, and you say I want to do this, and you show up to this. And I also always say that when you start being drawn to it, you don't have any resistance. It's a curiosity. It feels good. When you start being drawn to it in that way, it's a really good sign that it is a part of your path or a part of your journey. And from there, as long as you're not feeling that big resistance, I feel like it could be at any time.
Yeah. To me, it's when you're wanting it, when you really want it.
Right.
Okay. So
Exactly.
if you're asking that question because you're wanting it, that means you're ready. Period. End of story. It's a choice.
Right.
Okay. People that aren't in alignment with them aren't ready. You'll know because it won't be in their
Right.
awareness. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
It wasn't
Exactly.
in my awareness until it was ready. It was in my awareness, but I never wanted to or felt like it was the time. But when it finally showed up, I realized it was time. Okay, I need to go deeper with this. Like, I need to
Right.
be active. And then I ended up having a session with somebody. We did the healing swapsies with D. Remember D. Cruz? She helped
Yeah.
me to go deeper with it. And that's when it was like, wow, I couldn't shut up after that. Then I realized I was an activator, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but in the beginning, I didn't want anything to do with soul language. I didn't think it was in my awareness. It was part of my journey, but then it finally came online and then I was like, I need this. I want
Right.
this. Right.
Right.
And so if you feel like this, you're asking that question because you want it, then that's your answer. You're ready.
I just want to take a moment to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much to everyone who is sharing, liking, commenting, sending gifts. And for all of your
No,
beautiful
so
comments, I
sorry.
promise I am seeing them. I just don't want to interrupt and stop. But there's been a lot of beautiful comments coming in saying they either saw me on TikTok or me and friends or you, and that sparked something on their journey. So we are so incredibly grateful for, I'm going to cry again, for every
No,
single one of you
Bakosha.
that's here,
Don't do
that
it.
has come across us in any way. We love you so, so much. And so those comments mean so, so much. The hearts, they mean so much. The shit, just being here means so, so much to
It
us.
does.
Um, we love you
We
all
love
so
you
much. I'm
so
trying not to
much.
cry.
We're very grateful
Yeah,
and we just want to see everybody shine. We're doing, this is
absolutely.
our mission. It's to help people see their own light and help them
Absolutely.
to better understand it. Okay. That is why we do what we do. It's to help everybody here so that you guys can be those teachers and pillars for those around you. That we're in this
Absolutely.
together. We don't claim to be better than anybody here. We're your equals. We're here to help you remember who you are.
Absolutely. That is my greatest passion, and I know it's Deb's greatest passion as well, is helping others step into their divine sovereignty, into their ability, into remembrance of who they are, remembrance of the abilities that lie within, so that they can move forward feeling like the best version of themselves.
I had somebody activate 2 days ago, nothing yet. It could have been they're not.
And that's
It
okay.
could have been that individual that activated you was not on your density level to activate you yet, honey. Or you needed a clearing. But I kind of feel like some people they're doing activations, but they, it might take some time for you to calibrate to
Mm-hmm.
it. I usually can instantaneously have people access it and there's few times where it hasn't come through, but it does. And so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, try not to get in your head about it. Was it recorded? Because if it's recorded, you can get back into the energy of it
Back
and
in the
practice with
energy is
it.
what I was
I
thinking.
always record the sessions for people to keep going
Mm-hmm.
in.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
Oh, okay. I need some love having a bad day today. Sending you love, sweetie. Sending you so much
Sending you
love.
so much love.
I know everybody's going through shit shows, different days.
Yeah,
Just know this will pass, okay?
absolutely. And that you're not alone. You are not alone.
Don Bundy, I suggest you getting into I have a a group activation session. It's on Christmas Eve. If you're around, it's at 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you want to get in and actually speaking it, I can activate you in that session. It's cheaper than the private session, so it's just a choice. Okay. The
So
link
I
is in
have a
my bio
question.
for all of this.
I have a question. How do I stop feeling guilty when it's time for me to move on from others that don't align with me? And what I instantly feel with that is that there really is no easy answer to that because we are
Aw,
all incredibly different. But what I will say is that by taking more time to go within, connecting in with your heart, with your emotions, check in with your emotions. How do I feel when this person is in my life? How do I feel when I'm not around
exactly.
them? You know, really checking into how you feel when you're in their energy and when you're not. And also taking more time in the meanwhile, whether it's having stepped away from this person or they're still in your life, to carve out those boundaries and time for self care and self love. Carving out that time for things that make you feel good, that fill you up, that make you feel joy. I feel like that all sort of helps you to make that decision, and it also
I
helps to
agree.
make it a little bit easier. I honestly don't think that it's ever going to be easy. I don't like the word easy
It's
for
not
that. So
easy.
I'm not meaning to say that it'll be like, okay, bye, and
It's not
everybody's
easy.
different, right? It's not easy. And I feel like that's the part of this that we don't discuss enough is
It's
that,
part of
um,
it's part of the experience here. It's
right,
part of our lessons and our
right,
experiences, those challenges, unfortunately, honey.
right.
Mia
And I
solalo
feel like
kia tieto.
it's ultimately choosing yourself. It's finding that value in choosing yourself. That is something that does make it, I still don't like the word easy, but the human word wants to be
Yeah,
easy. Something that makes it easier is finding that value and that love and respect for yourself and knowing that you deserve to be first, and
yeah,
then holding those boundaries that you've set in place for
absolutely.
yourself.
I couldn't say it any better.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for sharing. Hi, Gypsy. Hi.
Any advice on how to support your starseed children? Allow them to be their authentic
Allow
selves.
them to be themselves. Yeah, absolutely. Even if you don't
Encourage them.
necessarily understand, encouraging them to be themselves, to speak, to use their voice, to do what makes them happy, that lights them up, encouraging them and not shutting them
Exactly.
down. Because
Not trying
these kids
to,
are so aligned already. Like they're coming in fully online. They don't have the, I'm sorry, I just totally cut you off, and I really didn't mean
no,
to,
no,
but I'm so
it's
passionate
okay.
about this because I have
Well,
two
you have yeah,
hypersensitive 4 year olds right now. Like, allow them to be themselves, support them in
yeah,
themselves because they're not coming in with the stigmas that we had, right? Those stigmas
exactly.
get placed
Listen to
through
them.
programming and conditioning, right? And their environment and the things that they hear. And so just love up on them and let them be who they are.
Let them be who they are without your perception of
Right,
who you think they should be. And that is where a
right.
lot of parents go wrong and understand you have to allow your children to make the decisions they want. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, you got to direct them, but
Right.
like all my kids are different, but I allow them to choose what makes them happy. I'm not going to force them into doing something they don't want to do. That's not,
Right.
and so, but encouraging the to be authentic, to be a little different, and, you know, holding that space for them, because your role is super important. It really is. Just holding that space so they can be their authentic selves, okay, is super important. That's all you need to do.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone.
I got chills for kids comment. Will practicing Reiki speed up the soul language coming online? It just depends on the individual, honey. It's
Right.
accessing it within your heart. I do believe it's a belief that you can, and it is a surrendering process. But if you want to get activated, I can activate you. Okay, just go to my link on my bio. It's called a soul language dialect activation session, and I have a personal and a group session. So it's your choice. My almost 2-year-old occasionally cries in her sleep. We think she could be remembering past life. And I feel like it's a projection of fears that's coming over her in her current life. It's kind of maybe something that she's not, you need to access what's bothering her. So I feel like it's more of something that's bothering her right now in this timeline. Okay. Not necessarily a remembrance, but maybe something that she fears that is projecting in her dream. Okay. A lot of our nightmares come from what's happening in this life, like what our fears are. So ask her what the dream is about and see what she says, or she. Okay. Have her focus on some positive things, they're saying. They're talking about the fairies. The fairies are in her energy. Like, go out and play and be playful more and connect with her inner child. Like, let her express herself. I cry in my dreams sometimes too. I'm having, something that will come up. I just feel like it's something that's maybe I'm holding on to, and then it shows up in my dream. Okay. This is something you need to address. So, talk with her about it and let her work through it. I'm not. The next group activation session is on New Year's Eve at 11 a.m. PST. Oh my God, I'm getting all these questions about kids. Wow. Night terrors are really real right now with my 3-year-old. Oh my God, I went through that with Seth. Part of night terrors come from our starseeds being so open. Our children are very open. Okay. And so what I'm suggesting is that you call in Archangel Michael as a protector, and really set some boundaries around her, like put some white light around her, and ask Archangel Michael to protect your little when they're sleeping. But they're saying the child needs to believe she or he has the power to protect themselves so that this doesn't happen again. This child is open. They're saying very open. You can wear a medallion, like an archangel little medallion. And like with Seth, I had to have him speak daily that he was protected, that, that he held the power here. Nothing was allowed to enter. Okay. Because night terrors to me are spirit trying to get in. Okay. And not necessarily good spirit. I've had this experience already. I know what you're talking about. And how we pulled out of it was by having him claim his sovereignty and knowing he had the power to protect his own energy. He had to learn that tool. Okay. This goes for, it should be practiced daily, protection, and also smudging. They're saying saging your home is necessary, clearing the clutter, clearing out the bad juju out of the home. Okay. Make sure you open up your windows when you sage and set the intention that only high vibrational energy of love and light and those that are here for your highest good are allowed in your energy. No lower vibrational energy is allowed. They're really stressing the sage.
Set those boundaries for your home and specifically set the boundaries for your children's room, set the boundaries for your home as
Yep.
a whole. It's very, very important. This is something that I do constantly. I'm constantly doing this. My twins are so open. My daughter is full on clairvoyant, and it'll be time for bed, and she'll be calling in the fae, and all of a sudden I've got all this energy in my room, and they're both losing their minds, right? So I agree
Yeah.
with Deb 100%. Putting a shield of white
Yeah.
light, calling in Archangel Michael, if that's
Yep.
what resonates with you. I bubble them up every single night before they go to
Yep.
bed. I put a bubble around both of them. I cleanse their
Have them do
energy.
it.
Yeah,
Have
right.
them have them learn the tools to do it themselves.
Well, and
Okay?
that's what I was
Because
gonna
they need
say
to believe it.
because right, my son is still he speaks, but he's more on the nonverbal side, right? So he's not there, right? He's not
Yeah.
there yet, and so something that I will say is that I don't change what I do when I'm by myself than
Yeah.
what I do when I'm with them, right? So I allow them to see me. If there's energy in that room, they hear me speak the boundaries. They watch me push the
Yeah.
energy out. They watch me push my hands out. They watch me speak those intentions for the room. And I've
Teach
noticed,
them to push things out. Teach them how to
right?
set
And
boundaries.
exactly.
Yeah.
And my daughter Ella, she does that. And sometimes I'll know that something needs to change because I'll hear her say, "Get out," and she'll start pushing energy out. And she's done this
Oh,
since she was
good.
about 2.5.
That's a good thing.
So
Yeah.
allow the kids to see what you're doing,
Yeah.
so that they're not fearful of it, as Deb's saying.
Yeah. It really empowered Seth.
Oh
We
yeah,
got a medallion, so he felt protected. They got to feel protected. And then my guides are
right.
like, make a little spray for them to spray and say that I'm protected now. Like they need to
Right.
believe that that's helping them. I have made like smudge sprays for children or like call it monster sprays. Okay, things like
Yeah.
that. But a lot of times the kids don't know what's happening
Hmm.
too in those moments. You're seeing it, you're visualizing this happening. And so
Right.
that's why you need to make sure that you're setting those intentions for your kids as well. So it's
Hmm.
important you're both doing them
Right.
some way or form. Okay. It's your creation of how you feel protected, your symbols. Okay. Pakoshanaya, Satya, Sakeririya, Shakoya, Mahara, Hiara. Light language is huge for
Oh
helping
yeah.
to remove those energies out of your space. I'm telling you, light language is a powerful force to remove
Yeah.
lower energy.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I use it to cleanse my space. I use it to grid the home. I use it to
Yeah.
shield the home. Um, very, very,
Oh my
very
God,
powerful in pushing energy out.
my phone's ready to go out.
Oh no, that's
We
all
got to cut it
right.
out.
We can head out.
Yeah, I think it's time. But thank you,
Okay.
everybody who came on
Yeah.
and listened.
Thank you all so, so much. We love you. And for anyone that may be interested, that resonates with Deb and I and the things that we're talking about, Deb and I are teaching a dual mentorship and course right now. It's the Starseed Intuitive Awakening course. The link's in both of our bios. This is really where you're going to learn to command your space, right? To set your boundaries, ground, shield, bubble up. You're going to learn how to sense energy, sense yeses and nos in your body, connect with your higher self, connect with your team, start understanding the things that are coming through. And this is very hands-on. So Deb and I are in this. It's a go at your own pace video course. But it also has a private group for practices, for team practices, for one-on-one practices, live Q&As. The link's in both of our bios, and we actually have a special on it right now. So it's 20% off until December 2nd. So if it's something that you're
Yeah.
interested in learning about, right now is really the time to join. And we're in that every day. There's kind of always something going
Yeah.
on, so you have the opportunity to practice with other
And
people
what you
and with
learn from
us.
this course, you can teach your kids, you can teach
Absolutely.
others with this information. Okay.
Absolutely.
But we're really going to help you. It's basically helping you to connect with your abilities and how to work with them and
Right?
use them and understand them.
Right?
Masakiri ushai samalalahia tia shaki. Bisosudalo. Miasosuwalo hi shiati. They're saying the greatest importance is working on yourselves. Masoturayo
Absolutely.
satia yakuyawa. I love you guys so much.
Yes. We love you
Masalalo
so, so,
kiati.
so much. Yes,
Okay, honey, we're gonna shut down. My phone's going out.
Okay. Yeah,
But
thank you all
what
so
we
much, everyone. We love you. We love you. We
don't
love
forget to
you.
follow us on Light Language Awakening Group, Starseed Intuitive Awakening Group. The links are in our bios for all the groups that we're attached to. And I hope you guys join the course, the ones that are really wanting to work on themselves and learn about yourselves. And we're there to help support you. It's free mentorship in the course, you
Absolutely.
guys. We're going to be mentoring you, guiding you through this. This is our mission, is to help you remember who you
Absolutely.
are and how to use your own unique abilities.
Right.
Okay?
In the way that works best for you so that you're confident. And then when you come out, there'll be a public platform for you to step out onto. So, yeah.
Exactly. All
All
right,
right.
honey. Love
We
you.
love you all.
Masalalo. Yeah, tututuraya.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Yarutukuranda. Bye.